let's look at a video. Jesse Inkamp came out with this video, and I will be...
Who is Jesse Inkamp now again?
He is a karate guy. He's got tons and tons of videos on YouTube.
Okay, he's not a jiu-jitsu guy at all?
He's a personality guy, no. He's studied in Okinawa. I don't know his whole background and life story, but pretty well-known guy. And let me pull this up.
I don't even know the well-known guys.
Yeah.
No idea who he's doing.
I don't follow.
So we'll watch this, and I'll plug it into the screen right here also.
A Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament to prove that it doesn't work.
He's entering a jiu-jitsu
They say 90%
tournament.
of fights end up on the ground. But 100% start standing up, and that's where we want the fight. I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu only works if you play along with it. And to prove my point, I'm going to enter a tournament on the street and simply stand up.
So his goal...
So wait a second, I got a question.
Yep.
I know that the rules don't let you walk away from the fight. So if you just stand up, the referee would then point to the guy on bottom, and you have to engage.
I have seen this video, and we will get into that. Okay. But yeah, his whole point is, if you're in a jiu-jitsu match, does it work if the other person chooses not to engage in the ground game?
Right, and he's failing to mention that he wants to test this against novice level jiu-jitsu.
Yes, in the video,
meaning white belts.
Right. And he is a black belt in karate. He's been training for like all his life. His whole family's in it. So I think his mom is a black belt instructor, and she's in her 80s, I believe. I saw a video on that. But yeah, he's a very experienced martial artist.
Right. White belt in jiu-jitsu.
And he's going to compete.
Definitely in white belt in jiu-jitsu.
He's going to compete in the white belt. So I've cut out some of the fluff that they added to it. And it is a bit of satire that I cut out. So take that into account. Because we can't put the whole thing on YouTube. And this will be playing as we're watching. So let's get into it.
Turns out, standing up is much harder than I thought.
So he's rolling with higher level.
Like a purple belt right now.
What a new opponent. My next opponent is just a brown belt. But he immediately chokes me out.
Okay, so he's
They call this an Ezekiel
experiencing the reality.
choke. Now that I know how it works, I can easily avoid it.
My man.
So this is the footage that you're seeing is his gym also. So he has a whole karate program, but he also has a jiu-jitsu program that he doesn't run.
This is satire, though, man.
It is.
He appreciates jiu-jitsu.
It is. It was just kind of. It's funny to watch this and see what happens, and the matchup that he gets is pretty interesting for the competition.
Okay.
Dance the same way. This is not what I had in mind. That's when they suddenly announce my name.
So we're at the competition now.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu work.
And he is wearing a white belt. His brother is MMA. He told him he's a white belt. So he goes out in the white belt competition.
My opponent immediately tries to grab my sleeves.
Now what I'm seeing here is they didn't get the best white belt either.
It don't matter. Pick any of them.
He just
But
lies down and tries to pull me on top of him.
he's stripping grips, though.
Yeah.
That's good. I like
I just stand up.
it. Way to break those
grabs my
grips.
lapel. So I try to strip his wrist off with both hands.
Strip it, bud.
But his grip is too good. That's when he tries to pull me down again. But I just pop back up and move away.
Yeah.
I can sense that.
So this is like the Derek Lewis thing. Have you seen the highlight reel of Derek Lewis just standing up?
No, you told me about that.
He says jiu-jitsu isn't real, and then there's like 10 clips of him just standing up from being in like bottom half guard.
Yeah.
He just rolls the guy over and stands up. Pretty hilarious. But that's what his process is thinking here, is just break grips, stand up.
Is getting frustrated because I refuse to go down to the ground with him.
I mean, it's working.
It is working
That's when he tries
at
to
white belt
attack.
level.
Yeah.
He goes for a foot sweep.
And also,
I decide to
man,
return the favor
can
by
I ask,
favor.
like, what's
But
working?
luckily, he just lies down
What's
anyway.
working? You know what's working?
Well, this dude ain't getting nowhere.
Well, no, check this out. What I mean is that what he's doing that works is something I would teach in my class. And what's in my jiu-jitsu class? I would teach strip the grip, step off of that leg, step off of that. We would drill that right there, bro.
Yeah.
So he's doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Good.
No, and
You're
that's
stripping grips and you're stepping off the
Exactly,
legs.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
that's a trap that I fall into. Is I'm always trying to engage, and yeah, you were always telling me just back out,
right,
reset.
you gotta
do-
be wise about how you
Yeah.
engage.
Yeah,
Right?
and so this is where the referee comes in and says that he needs to
Engage.
stop
The ref wants him
stalling.
to engage.
That's when the referee suddenly stops the action.
Yeah, because you have to fight. Bro.
Apparently, I've broken some kind of rule. He tells me that I'm not allowed to disengage. And if I don't start grappling, I'm gonna get disqualified.
Is he just gonna
And now,
take the
my
DQ?
opponent
Let's see.
refuses to even stand up. I doubt this is what the ancient
Refuses. He
samurai
didn't
warriors
refuse,
had
man.
in
He
mind
was allowed to
when
stay
they
down.
And so then he goes
Refuses.
right, and then it goes into a little bit of history, and this is an interesting point. So let's watch this.
Okay.
Because it was supposed to be used as a last resort when your weapons fail, and the last place you want to go on the battlefield is the ground. But something changed when the art spread to Brazil. It became a sport, and the essence was lost. This is the exact same thing that happened to karate. Today, you can even become an Olympic champion by getting knocked out.
Huh. I saw that. That's
So that's interesting to me. If we go back to the roots of jiu-jitsu, you know,
Right.
it traces back to judo and then into the samurai. How much of that story that we hear in jiu-jitsu is legitimate is hard to say, right? It's just like any history thing. It's documented that it goes back, but it's hard to say were samurais actually using jiu-jitsu, what type of jiu-jitsu, what moves were they using. It's hard to compare today's martial art to that. And that's kind of what he was saying, but is that
he
a bad
was spot
thing?
on. No,
Yeah.
what he said was 1,000% right. And as far as what kind of jiu-jitsu, I think they're doing jiu-jitsu, the same jiu-jitsu really. I think that they had a guard system, closed guard system, you know, and all that. But I think what he's saying is right, because imagine what we do right now when we drill, when we spar, what we do is we let each other survive over and over again. When they tap out, we let them survive, right? And what he said is the truth. In their world, was there a tap out? No.
No.
So if it did go to the ground, were two people going to get up and walk away? No, one was. So was it the last place you? Yes, last place you wanted to go.
Exactly.
So what he said was spot on. Doesn't mean that they weren't super well trained on the ground. In fact, that would probably be a reason for them to be experts on the ground, because only one guy gets up to walk away.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And then with that, he was saying how karate, you can get knocked out and win the championship. I was watching a taekwondo match one time, and the guy barely tapped the other guy's nose, and at the same time, he got blasted in the belly with a round kick, and the round kick like sent this guy back. But because he grazed the nose, it was the guy who touched his nose won.
Yeah.
It was like, well, you just got blasted with a round kick, and the guy was on the ground and everything. So it was like a big. It wasn't just like just a round kick. This thing knocked the guy down, but his nose got grazed, and it's like that guy's the winner.
Sport.
Yeah,
You can make
that was
the
a real
argument.
situation. Dude, yeah, got knocked out.
Yeah, exactly.
Sports have. You can make the argument that taking a martial art and turning it into a sport ruins it.
Look at judo.
You could.
Right, judo
there's-
had
there's
so
tons.
many things, lots of groundwork, lots more takedowns, and then because of the Olympic Committee, it turned into how high can I throw you?
Right.
So yeah, great points there. Let's get through a little bit more.
So now I am left with no other choice but to finish the fight. It's time to put the martial back in martial order.
Look at this.
This was not part of the
Pass.
plan, so I have to find a way to win.
There you go. Now he's got
Luckily,
a grapple.
my opponent gives me his leg, so I try to break it.
Tried to break
But the
it.
referee tells me I'm not allowed to do that.
Because he's
So
wearing
I
a
have
white
to
belt.
let go. I'm trying my best to avoid my opponent's attacks, but I'm afraid that if I'm too passive, I will get disqualified. So I'm left with no other
You
choice.
still strip
but
that
to go
grip though,
down to the
bro.
ground.
Keep stripping those grips.
This right here was kids class 101.
Walked right in the mount.
I will get disqualified. So I'm left with no other choice but to go down to the
There
ground.
you go.
And luckily, I know exactly what to do from here.
The Ezekiel from earlier in the video.
There you go. Good work, white belt. Yeah, you look like a white belt.
And we were just talking about those Ezekiels last week. It's like white belt kryptonite.
Just like that, I proved my point.
Yeah, that was
Because no
satire.
matter what
That was total satire. He respects jiu-jitsu, obviously.
Don't lose sight of its original purpose.
Yeah.
If he would have just stood up, that would never have happened.
At the end of the day, it's not what you do, but how you do it. Because
Yeah, so interesting. It is satire. Jesse and Cam respects all martial arts.
He was definitely doing jiu-jitsu.
But it was an interesting video. What do you think, which leads me to my next question, what do you think about black belts and other martial arts competing as white belts in jiu-jitsu?
I think they're white belts in jiu-jitsu. They should. I think the only one that makes sense for them not to is black belts in judo. You know, they should go blue belt. Or like I had a situation where little Kev, he's a brown belt now. He did pans back as a white belt years ago, right? He entered pans, and he lost in the finals to a judo black belt. Okay, and I was pissed, right, when I found out that because the rules state they clearly state in the rules, if you're a judo black belt, you cannot enter the white belt division. Okay, but my guy pulled guard over and over. He was not doing judo, and I think his coach straight up said, "Don't do any judo." You know, that would be mean, right? But you could just tell the way he moved, even on the ground. He had like a really advanced half guard game. I remember for a white belt, thinking, "Man, he's really working that half guard well."
Yeah.
You know, for
Half
a white
guard's a
belt,
tough position.
you know, it is to understand, and he clearly understood it, you know, really well, and he still barely eked out a win over my guy Kevin's, you know, tough as nails. But yeah, so they are white belts, though. That's the thing. There's of course they should enter the white belt division. They're white belts, right? With the exception of a grappling, you know, judo, doing throws in the white belt division of a jiu-jitsu tournament, right? Or college wrestlers, like they have that rule too.
Yeah.
College wrestlers should enter blue belt division. And again, like I wrestled in junior high and high school, never wrestled in college, right? So I remember competing white belt pans and wrestling my way through the whole thing. So the thing about wrestling is you don't need to have wrestled in college, and you can still absolutely mop up guys in jiu-jitsu. So I understand it with grappling-based arts. Yeah, but if you're a karate black belt, you're a white belt in jiu-jitsu, my friend. Yeah.
A lot of karate incorporates groundwork.
Oh, do they?
They do.
I didn't know that.
They do. No, we always see, you know, what we see on TV of, you know, the Karate Kid and that sort of thing. But no, karate actually has a decent amount of like judo throws, tomo nagis and things like that. They have in it. So they do have a decent. It's a basic understanding, but it is an understanding. And
yeah, it's still white belts. And white belt
depending
division.
on where you are training, right, it might be white, blue. It's hard to say of what level you could actually get to.